All right, hello and welcome to the RPG Academy podcast, Twitch channel, YouTube stream, something like that. It looks like my internet's actually going to work well enough today, fingers crossed, at least for a little while, for me to do some more streaming of Final Fantasy. So I'm picking up pretty much where I left off. This will be session 10, I think the third time I've tried it. I've already at level 13. Originally, I had planned on waiting until level 15 to do some additional go into the game, but I've actually been playing a different version of Final Fantasy upstairs, and I actually think I'm high enough level now to just go for it. So I'm going to break my plan, and I'm just going to start going through some of the other dungeons and seeing if I can get somewhere in the actual game. So that's the plan for today. So again, I don't know that there's anything I'm going to do on this game other than the one trick I already showed about how to level up pretty quick on that little peninsula there that is going to be insightful or interesting to anyone. So the goal of this is to hang out and maybe chat. So if anyone is listening and would like to talk about whatever, I'm here to talk about whatever. So I need to see what kind of items I have because I'm going to need a few. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, that should be okay. I don't have a whole lot of heal potions, but I do have my White Mage who obviously helps with that. It's been raining here for like 3 straight days, so my sump pump over there will probably kick on a few times today. Don't know how loud it'll be. So this is the first time I've actually got to do this with the new green screen effect. Hopefully it's working. It looks like it's okay on my side. So I'm going to buy a few things before I head in. Always a good idea to have extra heal potions. Because my White Wizard is only worth so many. Now, my goal when I get into this dungeon that we're going to head to is actually not to fight very much. Like, if at all possible, I really don't want to fight unless I have to. There's a few fights that are just like mandatory is not the right word, but basically you can't escape them. If you get into those fights, they're just I don't know, I can't think of words. You can't escape from them, so you have to do them. So the thing, because I've played this game so many times, I've kind of left off and I've not really explored like you would if you actually played the game. So there's a few things that we should know if we were talking to everybody and trying to get all these quests. So this here is Elf Town. If you go into the actual castle itself, we learn that the elf prince is under some sort of magical sleep and requires something that will wake him up. If we travel up to the north, which we will in a minute at the end, but not first, we learn that there is a kind of a recluse or I can't think of words today, an exiled elf king, and the elf king is looking for his crown. And if we get him his crown, he will give us the crystal. And there is a witch, Matoya, who has lost her crystal eye that allows her to see, and she's blind without it. So we've got sort of like this 3-way fetch quest going where we need to get the crown, If we give the crown to Astos, he will give us the crystal. We give the crystal to Matoya, who's a witch, who should have some sort of item that will wake the elf prince. So that is what we are going to try to do, at least partly today. More than likely, I'm just going to go through the first actual part of this, which is the swamp cave, I think is what it's called. Apparently, I should have bought more pure potions because I'm going to get poisoned a lot. Oh, man. It's not good. In fact, I'm gonna call an audible right now and go back and get more pure, because I've already spent 2 pure potions and I'm not even to the dungeon yet. That's not ideal. Now so one of the other things that I do, wow, that's the third. So yeah, definitely need some pure potions. Is I do a lot of backtracking just because, well, so I'm at the point now where my main goal is to actually get promoted. And again, if you've never played this game, I don't know how many of the other Final Fantasies included, because I honestly don't play any of the others because I don't like them. But I guess it's kind of like a prestige class for like 3.5 D&D, where there's a way in this game to get promoted, and like my fighter becomes a knight, and the black belt becomes a master, and my mages become actual wizards. I think that's their terminology. And I like to try to do that as early as I can. And I have no scientific reasoning for this. I don't know if it's actually true or not. But I feel like, let's say I went to level 25 before I got promoted. And then I get to level 50 in total. So I've got 25 levels as a fighter. I've got 25 levels as a knight. I feel like my characters will be stronger if instead I do 20 levels as a fighter and 30 levels as a knight. Again, I have absolutely no scientific empirical evidence that works, but that's what I like to do. So that's what I'm trying to do. Welcome to Foxblade. Yes, I don't know what's going on, but I tested this morning and it's not super fast, but it seemed like it would be fast enough. So I wanted to take the opportunity, even though it's not, my regular time, to jump on for a little while and see if I could get a little further. And I'm stocking up on pure potions because I'm actually going to try to hit the swamp cave today and get through that dungeon. Pardon me for a second. So again, as I was saying, so I do a lot of backtracking. One, because I'm able to level up so quickly because that little peninsula exploit I like to do, that I don't need necessarily some of the items that we normally would have gotten if we got everything as we go. So you're going to see that when I go through this dungeon, I'm just going to get the one thing I need. I'm not going to hit any other rooms. I'm not going to worry about any other treasure. I just want to get the crown and then get out. Once I've got all my characters promoted, I will go back through and re-hit every dungeon that I've already been through to go back and get all those items. Most of the time at that point, there's a few items that are powerful and I want to keep, but for the most part, most of them I'm just going to turn into gold so that I can buy other things. And again, I'm going to be running a lot because I don't want to fight anything I don't have to fight right now. My goal is to get to the dungeon with all my magic spells intact, try to get through the dungeon with all of my magic intact, or as much as I can. I really should have bought a house. Hopefully I have. I think there's, well, I'm not going to get it, but I think there is one in the dungeon, but I'm not going to go for it. So way over here in the swamp, we have a hole in the ground, and this is the swamp cave. So I'm going to use a tent here. So basically I've saved my progress, so if I get killed I can restart right here. So you can go up or you can go down. Up, there's a couple items, some gold, but nothing real important. To the right here is a dead end. There's nothing over there. And again, I'm just going to go to try to get the item that I need, which is, again, the crown. There's a few fights in here that are pretty tough, but nothing I shouldn't be able to run from most of the time, except for to get the crown, I have to fight a bunch of wizards, which look like mind flayers. I kind of think that's what they're supposed to be from D&D, but they don't call them that. But they definitely look like squid-faced monsters, which I guess mind flayers were stolen from Lovecraft, so they're, those aren't originally there. Okay, so this fight, I got some zombies and ghouls. I believe these things can stun me, so I still want to run, but I'm going to hedge my bet just a little bit. I'm going to have my white wizard cast harm, so just in case I can't run, or a couple of my people get, get paralyzed, and I don't want this to get too far out of hand, so I'm going to let Wanda here use a harm spell, which should take them all out. And the harm spell isn't good for a whole lot of other things. There's not a lot of other undead. So that's a good use of the spell. My resource management's still well in hand, but I still don't want too many of those. All right, so this is the main floor. There are 4 of these rooms across and 4 down. And some of them have treasure, some of them don't. Some have treasure chests, but they're empty. I don't remember exactly where everything is, but I do remember where the crown is. The other thing about backtracking is, oh, come on, don't, okay, is that there are some of these doors that are locked, and you have to have the mystic key to unlock them, and I don't have that yet. I get that as part of this, 3-tiered fetch quest I'm on. So you have to do some backtracking anyways. And I'm just sort of exasperating that by really going after, I'm going to run here, doing absolutely nothing that I don't have to. These gargoyles are surprisingly tough. So 1 over and 3 down. This should be the crown. There we go. So again, now I'm fighting these wizards that, again, to me kind of look like mind flayers. These things are tough. Way tougher than they should be, I think. So I'm going to use my spells here. Luckily, there's only 2 of them. They have, I think, about 85, 90 hit points each. So hopefully between the spell and my, yeah, there we go. All right, so we have found the crown. So the first part of this plan has worked to perfection. Now, we just need to get out of here without anybody dying and without me having to use too many other spells. So we're going to do some more running. So I played Fate of Cthulhu a few weeks back. Here we go, more undead. I'm actually going to see if I can use a harm 1, see if that'll work. And it sort of inadvertently started to lean into some Gilligan's Island shenanigans, which was great for me. So I'm working on a Gilligan's Island Savage Worlds one-shot. I got somebody helping me make the characters, because I'm not great at Savage Worlds. I don't know it very well. And I'm going to try to run a one-shot soon of Gilligan's Island meets Cthulhu in Savage Worlds. So that is what I'm working on RPG-wise at the moment. I hope so. I hope it will be fun. I'm at the age where I grew up watching Gilligan's Island. I loved that show. Absolutely had some tingly feelings for Marianne and Ginger at a young age. I thought the professor was the coolest one because he was so smart. So hopefully, if there's people that I think get those characters, then it could be really fun. If people play that don't really know them, I mean, it'll still be fun, but it probably won't be as much because it won't lean into those the silliness of that show. And sadly, I had to cancel several pledges on Kickstarters. I ended up rebacking one that I probably shouldn't have, because money is going to be tight for us, as long, a lot of other people as well. But I had to. But one of the ones I did unback was Ascendant, which was a superhero RPG that has some callbacks to the Marvel superhero game that I love so much. But I have a Marvel superhero game that I like to run, and I'm thinking about trying to get a game of that together soon as well. Again, we do this all through Discord. So if you're on the Discord when we're trying to create games, you can jump in as anyone else can. That worked pretty well. So now we're going to use a tent. So now we've saved our progress again. So that didn't take very long. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can complete the next couple parts. So now that I have the crown, I can go up and see Astos, the exiled elf king who wants his crown. And once he gets his crown, he promises that he will give us the crystal that Matoya needs, and we can give that to Matoya, and Matoya will give us the herb we need to wake up the elf prince. And then we get the mystic key from him. And that, all right, I'm going to have to use this. And that basically unlocks the next portion of the game. So again, because I'm not really exploring like you would if you played this game yourself, if you've never played before, because I don't know where everything is, but I remember where most things are pretty easily. So I haven't really explored, but you would find if you did that you're kind of trapped inside. Actually, I can show you. I'm not supposed to know this yet because I haven't been told this in the game. But if you hit B and select, it'll bring up the world map. So just to the right of that little blinky crosshair, which is me on the board, that is the water that we have started in. As you can see, it's locked, like there's no way out. That will change shortly. And then we'll be able to get out into the further world. Okay, so we're going to use a cabin here. Once again, we're going to save our progress. Because what we're about to find out is that this king here is a lying sack of crap. He's actually the dark elf king, and he's going to kill me. So we have to fight. And Astos has an ability called Rub that just kills us. Well, it may not be called Rub on him, but basically it's an instant kill spell, which, those suck. And so yep, there it is. Oh, it did work on him. Yay. Because sometimes that is like a saving throw in D&D. Sometimes you just die right then, right there. And that stinks. So hopefully, nope, one cycle didn't do it. He doesn't always use that spell. So let's hope that he doesn't try it again or that I get him killed first. Come on. Not Wanda. Okay, he's done. Okay. There we go. Because as I've said before, I like to keep all of my characters the same level. So if one of them dies, I'll just basically reset there from my last save point. Even though you can't bring them back to life, I don't know, there's something about them not being on the same level bugs me. Now, when you're inside this room, it's like a weird thing of the game. If you notice that I can see into the room next to me, even though I'm not in there. I can see there's some treasure chests over there, but I don't have the mystic key, and that door is locked by the mystic key, so I can't go get them anyway. So again, backtracking. Okay, so now we've got the second leg of this three-way fetch quest completed. So now we need to visit the witch Matoya. She will give us the herb, and then we can wake the prince, and the prince gives us the key. And again, spoiler, if you haven't already figured it out, there's something in a locked room that will let me open up the world and let the ship get outside of that landlocked ocean. And then we can get on to the next part of the game. So another thing we did do, we had been doing a show every other week, and tomorrow would be the next day we're recording it, which we call Econ Fundamentals, capital FU in there, where we look at some Kickstarters that are interesting and we just highlight them, ones we think are cool or things that we might back. But with the situation right now, it just feels kind of weird to me to be like, I don't know, I feel like maybe not pressuring, but giving people things to spend their money on when they, a lot of people are going to have money issues. So we're going to put that show on hiatus until after things calm down a little bit. So I appreciate that. There's a part of me who thinks this is kind of dumb because, I don't think anyone is going to spend money just because we highlighted it. But they might. I don't know. There's something about it that seems weird. So I didn't want to do it. I talked to the other two and they agreed. So I think we're all on the same page. The only part of me that has really second thoughts is there might be some Kickstarters out there who have no choice but to launch right now. And then now they're going to be in trouble because obviously not as many people are going to back it. We could potentially help them by highlighting their Kickstarters, but there's so many Kickstarters, we can't cover them all. So like that's the one little naggy point that I'm sort of like made it a tougher decision than maybe it should have been. But I'm hoping that, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't know what the hell's going on. I work at home. Well, my wife works at home. I'm a stay-at-home dad at this point, other than the podcasty stuff. So we've pretty much been in, social distancing anyways for a while. So this hasn't been a huge change for us other than the kids are home. So we're, they have school at home now. But it's not been a huge change for us, but I know for a lot of people it is, not just obviously the fear of getting sick and dying, but a lot of people losing their job, losing their income. I don't know. It just seems like the right decision. But hopefully in a couple months, things will be back to quote unquote normal. All right. So there's Matoya. I gave her her crystal. So she gave me her most powerful herb. I'm sure there's some marijuana jokes somewhere in there, but we're just going to skip over those. And we're going to go wake the prince up. Alrighty. So as some of you may know, though there's only one person currently here, but in the future somebody might watch this. Yeah, it's easier when you don't have to leave anyways. But I've been recovering from surgery. I think I mentioned that a couple places, but I had a gastric bypass to try to get my weight under control. I've had weight issues pretty much my entire life, since I was about 7 or 8. And I never cared too much that I was overweight. I mean, obviously I tried to lose weight, but it wasn't the end of the world. But then within like a 6-month period, I went from having no weight associated issues to having diabetes and high blood pressure. And those are bad. So decided to have the surgery, and things are going well overall, but I've had a couple really rough days. Like I couldn't hardly get out of the bed, and just taking a sip of water made me nauseous. So feeling a lot better today. Hoping to keep things on track. Currently down 35 pounds in less than a month, so that's pretty exciting. I don't expect it to continue at that pace. If it did, I'd be dead by Christmas. But I have about 120 pounds total to lose, and 35 of it so far. Can't really tell a whole lot here, but I can definitely tell on my face. So it might be interesting to go back and like watch the first episode of this and see how much my face has changed in that time. Oh, I don't want to go here. I need to go to, oh, well, that was just silly. Ha, there we go. So now we're in the castle itself. So I think this is the first stream I got to use the actual overlay because it's actually worked. Tom put this together for me, and I got a little green skin going back here now. You can see anything. So that's cool. I've never had a chance to play with that before. Alrighty. So we're gonna find some weapons here. There's nothing too exciting here. Silver knife, I think that's better than the knife my dark mage has. Iron armor, that's good for my fighter. Iron shield, that's good. But here we go. This is what we needed. TNT. So we head over to the west. We're going to find a little enclave of some dwarves. We're going to learn that one of them, if they find adamantite, will be able to make a weapon. That'll come important later. And if we give the TNT to one of them, they will blow a hole and let us out into the world. So let's see. Trade. Oh, what was that? Welcome, Gygar68. Yeah, this is absolutely one of my favorite games. I actually don't really like a lot of the other Final Fantasy games. I know I'm weird in that respect, but I love this game, and I've played this game so many times. It is probably sad, but I love it. And I didn't know there might be some other people out there who haven't experienced it or haven't experienced it in a long time, and they might enjoy going through it. But again, the biggest thing I'm trying to do here is just hang out with people and chat. So if there's anything you want to chat about, mostly role-playing games is kind of my purview, but also a big movie buff, and certain movies I've seen, like the Marvel movies and that kind of thing, but some other ones, and just chat about whatever. I usually do this for about 30 minutes, 45 minutes a day. So probably don't have a whole lot left in today's session, but again, happy to chat. So I have the Mystic Key now, I have the TNT, so now it's time to go over and find these dwarf fellows and get to the next part of the world. There we go. Still kind of running. I'm not too interested in fighting a whole lot at this point because I kind of want to get my quote unquote promotion before I level up much more. I probably will level up at least once more just from the fights that I have to get through, but I don't want to level up any more than that. So I'm gonna run quite a lot. So we get down here to the bottom. Definitely don't want to fight things that poison me. Soon I'll be able to get a spell, the pure spell, so I can have my white mage / white wizard do that for me, but for the moment, I'm relying on potions. Okay. Apparently these people think it's totally cool for me just to come in and take what's in their treasure chest. You think dwarves would be a little bit more protective than that. So up here is the dwarven smithy, where if I talk to him, he'll let me know that he's out of his adamant supply. But if I get him some more, then that'd be something. So my understanding is there is an actual Final Fantasy II that was only released in Japan that there's now an iPad version for that is very similar to this game. But the actual Final Fantasy II that came out in the US, which I think is a Super Nintendo game, that's where they started to change. But I believe it was 5 when it drastically changed, and we have like where like summoning became like the big thing that you did. I remember being in college, and that was like I think, in fact, I think it was on PlayStation, not even Nintendo. I don't remember. But yeah, I never got into that. Like the idea of like the summoning being the really cool thing just didn't work for me. Okay. Whoops. No. Okay. So just did that. So I need to trade the iron armor for, nope, missed it. Crap. There we go. But if you haven't played this game before or haven't played in a while and you're interested, there is an iPad iOS version that is very similar. They've added a few extra dungeons, they've upgraded the graphics, and it's actually a lot of fun, and it's a lot easier because of the way they do magic. So if you like to play the magic users, um, so he went off to blow a hole. So like in the iPad version, there's a whole animatic there where um, you like actually see them, like, we run away and then it cuts to outside and there's like a big shaky scene where the island or the whatever, the little break that we're going to see is missing, crumbles into the ocean. I don't know if it's on any other device. I mean, it's probably also on other devices, but if you don't have them, I understand that. But I have played the iPad version through a couple times. So in this version, you have magic, which is very similar to like Vincian magic from old school D&D. I have certain slots for each level, but I can choose any spell in that level as much as I want. So like I could cast any one of these spells up to 6 times, or any combination thereof. In the iPad version or the iOS version, you have spell points. And as long as you have points, you can cast whatever you want that you need to. So it's a lot more flexible to use the spell that you need when you need it. You're not limited that way. So if you play a heavy spellcasting party or even a balanced party with a couple spellcasters, it just makes it so much easier. But they did add some additional optional dungeons. You don't have to go through them, but they're very tough. So they've made it easier, but they've also added some difficulty with these new dungeons. So this was what was not missing just a minute ago. Like I couldn't get through here before. And then if you head straight over, this is the new town. And then if we go over into down a little bit, there's the Earth Cave, and that's the first of our 4 elemental creatures that we have to fight. But I think I'm going to save that for another day. I'm just going to get to there, and then next time I pick this up, I'll get through that cave. So this is also the first time we get to some spells that we can't buy. So like I can't buy Warp because I'm not promoted yet. But I can buy Fire 3, and that's pretty cool. What? It seemed weird. I got confused there for a second. So did I buy that? Yes. Okay. So Warp lets you basically warp up one level of the dungeon, and then Wanda here, my white wizard, will have a spell later that lets us just exit the dungeon completely, which is very handy. So let's sell some stuff. No, I want to keep that. Okay, he has a silver dagger, so I can sell this one. So, are you talking about the video games for Dungeons and Dragons, or actual like the tabletop game? Alrighty. So, I got some stuff to sell. Yeah, I had copies of those for a long time. I never knew how to play. Like I knew how to play D&D, but could never get through those games for some reason. Um, I thought I saw them recently on one of these emulators. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I think they're out there. If you're really interested, you could probably track them down somewhere. Yep. Pool of yeah. I had those. I remember trying to play them. There's one that starts off like the first thing you do is you're riding a horse through like a woods and you have to like jump like obstacles, and I couldn't even get through that part. I just kept dying. All right. So I did remember, or I did forget, is no potion store in this, or item store in this town, uh, which might be a problem. Huh. Oh, come on. There we go. Whew. All right, this could be bad. Oh, yeah, this is going to be bad. So this is like the absolute worst case scenario. All of my people are stunned, and they may never get a chance to do anything. Oh no. This might be a reset right here. This is just sad. Do. Yep, here we go. Sorry, yeah, that was brutal. Luckily, I had just saved, so not the end of the world, but very frustrating. I mean, I wasn't even going to get a chance. That was just going to be a full party wipe. So there's a lot of backtracking in this game, which I guess isn't that unusual for these types of games. But so the dungeon, which again I'm not actually going to go into, I'm just going to get to it, and then I'm going to call it for the day. This is the Earth Cave, where the first Earth elemental or whatever thing we have to fight. You get halfway through it, and then you get an item, but you can't get any further. I then take the item that I get, which is a ruby, over to a different dungeon, go talk to a dude who will give me a rod, basically a crowbar. I can go back and then open that door I couldn't open and then finish the dungeon. So I have to go through this dungeon at least twice. And again, I'm not going to go and get any items, so I'll have to come back through a third time once I've been promoted. But there's a, so I'll go ahead and save it here. So I'm not going to start the dungeon, but I'm just going to show you one thing in case you're interested. Much like my little exploit where I can level up really quickly over on that peninsula, there's a similar one here. Oh no, I might just die right here. So I'll go ahead and tell you just in case I die here. Nope, I was lucky. So there's a hallway over here, this one right here. So the next step I take to the left, I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight giants. And sometimes it's a combination of giants and iguana. It'll go back and forth. But literally every single step you take here, you fight. So there's no randomness. It's always a fight, and it's always a combination of giants and iguanas, which can be quite a lot of experience, and it's certainly a lot of gold. Giants give quite a lot of gold. So if you want another place to level up pretty quickly, or again, you're desperate for some gil to go buy some stuff, this is a great place to go and just fight. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll call it there, and I'll just reset back to right before we went inside. So I hadn't planned on doing this on the weekends, but it might be the only time I can. Normally I do this Monday through Friday at around 9:30 in the morning. That has not been working because of my terrible internet. Thank you, Access Cable. But I'm going to keep trying, and if I have to, I'll just do it when I can randomly. I know that's not great for people who want to watch because you may not be free. But again, I'm kind of unfortunately limited by my terrible internet. So thank you both, Gygar and the Foxblade, for joining me. If there's anybody else that was watching that didn't say hi, glad you're here as well. And hopefully we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.